All right. I want to record this. Hello, everyone. Uh, I have gone through the Hugging Face Asians course, and I really wanted to record this video for two reasons. One, because I wanted to share my experience with the world. But the second most important reason is I feel really everyone should take that course. And I will let you know right now why you should take the course. Before I start, the course certification had a deadline of July 1st, and I'm recording this right after the end of that deadline. And I just finished the certification last week myself, but I still think there's great value in everyone doing that course. And let me tell you why. So, um, I what I plan to talk to you about today is who's the target audience I believe for that course. Um, I'll go through some of the course contents. I will discuss a little bit the final certification process. I know the certification window is closed, but you should still do that exercise. It was really good. And then I will also talk about my journey and I'll give you some hints that maybe will help you if you take the course. And then finally, I'll go to like, how did that course really change the way I think about so many things? So, the target audience. The course is a first unit, and then there are four more units. I believe every unit is estimated to take 4 to 5 hours. Your mileage will vary. I'll talk more about this in a bit. The first unit is designed for everyone. That's the introduction, and it has its own certification. And I think anyone who is software engineering adjacent, if you're a product owner, if you're a designer, if you're marketing, if you're in sales, any one of those fields will benefit greatly from taking that course. You will learn a lot of things. We'll talk about what you'll learn in a bit. Also, I believe if you're in management and every level of management, whether you're a mid, senior to C level manager, because there's a lot of talk about agents and AI. And I find that that course will give you solid technical ground to stand on while you make when you make these proclamations about what you can do and how your products should look, is stuff like that. The agent development part, which is the meat of the course, I think all software engineers should do it, whether you're back end or front end, any type of end should do it. Architects, for sure, the days of architects who do not write code are thankfully behind us. So that's good news. Data engineers, data scientists will benefit from that course because you will understand a little bit more how to do the software development in the age of LLMs. Finally, anyone who writes code, really, like it is eye opening to me. So the course structure is this: there is the introduction, which we discussed earlier. Then there is a unit on small agent framework, which is Hugging Face framework. I really appreciate that they have not just built the course around their own framework, but they also included Llama Index framework unit and a big unit on LangGraph and a dedicated unit on RAG use cases with examples from small agent, Llama Index, and LangGraph. Very comprehensive. And then there is the agent certification, which is the final unit, how you build your own agents. And there are bonus sections. I have to admit, I rushed through the RAG use case and bonus sections because I wanted to catch the deadline for the course. So the bonus sections, there is one for fine tuning LLMs with tool calling, one for agent observability, and one for agents in gaming. I will probably come back to those later after I just apply what I have learned. I mean, that's how I learn better. So the first section is first unit is introduction to agents. You're gonna discuss LLMs and their types. What type of LLMs are there? You will get the difference between messages and tokens, and what are the message and what's the token, and what are agents and how they are different from LLMs and how do they use LLMs. What are tools and what is reasoning? Different levels of agents. Most of us think of simple processors when you think of agents, but then you'll see like the simple processors, there is routers, there are tool calling, there are multi-tool and multi-agent. Really interesting designation. This will be a really good introduction. When you get to the agent frameworks, the course focuses on different parts for each framework, and I think they explore the strengths of each framework. It's a very, really well put, intelligently put. curriculum, I would say. Under small agents, you will get code agents versus tool agents, which is very interesting because small agent is actually a code agent, not a tool agent, or what we call JSON agent. And then you will get through some open telemetry observability and you get to appreciate why you need that observability. There's a very interesting section on vision handling, or how can you do things and in the middle of the execution of the agent take some screenshots or get some images and add that to the context of your logic. Very, very cool unit. The second one on Llama Index, it focuses more on graphs and how Llama Index uses graph approach. Llama Index uses not graphs per se, but more like a state machine. If you ever done state machines for lexical analysis at school, which was my passion 100 years ago, it seems like, it is it is good. This part will really click with you, and you will really enjoy it. And then it focuses a lot on RAG examples, and I learned after that that Llama Index really excels in RAG, and there were multiple RAG examples. I told you earlier that it takes 4 to 5 hours for you to finish a unit. Llama Index unit, I spent 15 to 20 hours on it, mostly because I went down the rabbit hole of RAG and I started using Llama to read my Gmail and index my emails and ask my inbox interesting questions. And then I got to experiment with different models on how to on how accurate the answers are. And then I got to experiment with different chunking strategies. Very, very good unit. Then the LangGraph, and this is by and large the most popular because it is LangChain, and LangChain has been here longer than Llama Index and Small Agent and very widely used. And in there, you get to see the graphs and the states and how you can have memory and how you can keep context. And also go through LangFuse, which gives you a way to actually draw your graphs and see your nodes and see your execution and see how the execution happened. Pretty good module. Finally, the RAG use case, and as I told you earlier, I rushed a little bit through this one. I did not spend long time in it because I was eager to start building my first agent for the certification. And in that module, you'll dig a little bit deeper into the RAG, but it shows you the implementation for the three frameworks. Finally, you go through the agent certification, and drum roll. I was super excited, and like I said, although the certification window have closed and they may extend it, that would be fantastic. But even if they did not, you should build the agent and go through the test, because the certification you do not certify, but the agent you build has to um, pass a test. And the test is Gaia test. It's a standard test for agents, and there are 20 questions, but they have also all like levels and all 70 questions, which you can try your agent on. And you get to practice and you get to see what your agent will score. And and it's also interesting because you get to build code to download. I built code to get the results, the actual truth of the test and the questions, and then I built code to run my agent and then record my answers and another piece of code to evaluate. So I built evaluation for myself before I submitted my results. But by the way, the submissions happen via REST API they had. But I don't know if it's available or not. But even if it's not available, you can build your own evaluation. As you may have guessed, you would require some software development background to do that. But everyone who has done simple APIs and knows the basics of Python can go through it. And then it was really interesting. I experimented with different strategies of building my agent, different agent types: code agent, tool agent, React agent from LangChain. I experimented with different models: O3 for the reasoning, and maybe Claude for Sonnet for the code agent, and GPT 4.1 for transcription of audio and things like that. It was really, really good, very intense. And as an example, this is one of the questions that I have gone through in the course. And this was also a sweet moment for me. It's the first time at 12 years old, showed some appreciation to whatever I do. because that question, he posted it to ChatGPT. ChatGPT gave no answer. And then my agent took 40 seconds, but it came out back with the right answer. And it was such a proud daddy moment. And, we're software engineers, we're nerds. We need to brag about our work. And this was great. Um, so, along my journey in the course, first, each unit, as I mentioned, estimated 5 hours. My range was like 4 to 15. The code uses inference client model, which is the way of getting an LLM from Hugging Face. I think I ran out of uh, like free inference calls very quickly. And so I decided to use my own keys and my own models. You could pay $7 or something cheap like that for Hugging Face. Totally worth it. The course is free, for crying out loud. It'd still be worth it. Um, and this is sort of like how I used the hugging the small agent framework, for example, to get the models. And these are the models that I was playing with. Um, my conclusions. All right. So it is there's so many exciting possibilities. This course was really exciting. One of the reasons I rushed to finish the course, and I kid you not, is I was thinking so much about building that agent that it affected my sleep quality. I mean, this is really how intense and how exciting that was. Probably since I started learning basic and go to statements and if, then, else, and loops. And I started thinking, why? That's the same feeling. And just as uh, the same feeling, it also triggers the same reaction. It's like, how can I use this at work? When I was a student at university and I learned how to code, I remember building my first like engineering application, which was like predicting some path, giving latitude and altitude. It was just a wild graph, and I built the graph of the sunshade path. And now I'm like, how can I do this as how can I use this at work? It's really exciting. How can I use this in any project, not just work, my own personal projects? It also changed my views on prompting. I understood prompting, I understood the value of prompting and the dreadful prompt engineering memes. But now I'm like, wow, this makes a big difference. Changing a few things in your prompts and how you structure your prompts makes a big difference in the quality and the results you get from your agent. So it's very interesting. And then finally, it's the early adapter days, early adapter advantage. As I am writing the code, as I'm building, from day to day, I go review and it changes and I do things and then it's like, oh, that's stupid. I need to do something better. And I'm listening to smart people talking and I'm watching smart people doing things. And I work with a lot of smart people as well. And I see what they are building. And I can't resist to have the same feeling that this is like writing code in the very early 2000s, before we had before we had design patterns book. We were doing things until a book came and gave them names and says this is called factory, this is called interface, this is called router. And I think we are in those days. I think a pattern will come, the design patterns will come, but this is very exciting, and that's it. Oh, sorry, competing frameworks. That's also another feeling. There's so many frameworks, and some of them are so new with very little documentation. Lang Graph is a little bit more mature. It's got better documentation. I can't say the same for Small Agent. It's great framework, but the documentation is still evolving. So there is this feeling of like the dust has not settled. But you I think we all will benefit and enjoy this exciting opportunity. So I will leave you there. I hope that video got you excited or curious at least to look at the Hugging Face Agents course. It's a free course. I'm not associated with them. They are, but it's a very well put course. I worked a lot in building courses in emerging technologies when the internet was emerging, when EGBs was new, and I took training in building courses and materials and building evaluations. And I can tell you that course gets an A plus when it comes to the way it was designed. And I think if you take it, you'll be very happy. Thank you. Talk to you soon.